My name is Audrey Allen, and I'm going to be talking about the Gladden Middle School data. And Gladden is in the Maury County School District in Georgia, so I'll also be comparing some data to those things. And the purpose of today is to look at trends in the last 3 years of data to make sure that our current school improvement plan and then the action plan in the next assignment all align to what the data shows. And I really feel like it does. Because, of course, we're here for student learning and growth. So what you're going to see in the data today is that math achievement, especially in 8th grade, has been outstanding. And in language arts and math, there has been steady growth. There's been some growth, but math, 8th grade math in particular, has really shined. But we are above the state level in level 2, 3s, and 4s on the milestones on ELA and math. And I left science and social studies data and charts out, mainly because I don't have 3 years of data that's similar, because last year was the first year that we did not test in science and social studies in the 7th grade. My school only houses 7th grade and 8th grade, so I stuck to language arts and math. And I also included cohort data to show the extreme amount of growth that we have had at Gladden in the last 3 years, and one cohort in particular that was here for 2 of the years really is a lot more than the group we had last year for only 7th grade. So I wanted to show that. And the areas that you're going to see across the data as needing improvement is that language arts really hasn't moved significantly, especially in the level 3 and 4s. The level 4 has been exactly the same for 3 years. And when you look at our district data, when the kids get to high school, there's a dip in their on-grade reading level. Therefore, they're having to take a lot of remedial classes, and they're not college and career ready. Our SWD and EL data, still red flags across the board, little improvement. And then we're also going to pay particular attention to level 4 data on the milestones. So this is data that I took from the school grades government page, and this shows our 5th grade and 8th grade reading targets are at or above state average for the last 3 years, and almost reflect what the growth has been or the trends of achievement have been across the state. It's been right there at it. We were just for the last 3 years. And then when you look at those all at around 75% ending last year, and you look at the high school is well below 75%. So there's something happening when the kids get to high school where the reading level is not on grade level. It becomes stagnant, and the kids have to take remedial classes if they go to college. So that's something that we'd really like to focus on, is getting Maury County as a district back above at least the Georgia average and closer to that 75 mark that we have. But it has shown improvement in the last 3 years. There's just that continual dip for middle school. So there is a district vision right now to improve literacy, and all money spent has really gone toward this literacy plan. There's been new jobs created, and we've had new professional development. Professional learning jobs have been created within the central office, like a professional development coordinator and an early elementary literacy specialist. And we have started making literacy plans to roll out next year, with new strategies that we do across the board, including those thinking maps, flea map writing, annotated note-taking, reciprocal teaching, PALS, learning strategies, things like that, because we've got to be creative with our money use, and we're going to have to use Title I for these purposes since we no longer have the Striving Reader Grant funds. So the 3-year trends for 7th grade language arts, you can see that the red is smaller, a few percentages smaller in this last year of testing, even though yellow just got bigger and green and blue stayed pretty much exactly the same the last 2 years. So we've not seen a lot of growth in 3 and 4, but we've moved some kids out of level 1. And then 8th grade did a little bit better. They've continually gone down in level 1, but moved up in the green and blues more so than 7th grade language arts. And that'll be shown in the cohort data later as well. And then this is 7th grade math. Gradual improvement in level 3s and 4s, and improving fewer students in level 1, and then significant growth is seen in the 8th grade math data, where we have gone and pulled a lot more kids out of the yellow and into the green and the blue, while also from the 28% reducing it down to 6 and 15 in the last 2 years. So the last 3 years, the trend data that we can see from that, 7th grade language arts, again, little growth, especially when you look at level 3 and 4s. 8th grade math has been outstanding in putting students at proficiency or above. 7th grade math has also had a steady trajectory of gains. 8th grade language arts did do a better job at moving students into level 4, but it's still only at 7%. And we're going to see that the reading levels are going to be something to look at the next few slides. And this is how the school compares to district and state data. So our district has performed a little bit better than us over the last 3 years. There's a few areas where maybe language arts in 7th grade we performed a little bit better than our district data did. But overall, our district data for the last few years has been higher. But we have been making gains and outscoring the state levels of achievement, especially if you look at the level 1. The state does outperform us quite often at level 4, but the yellow and green areas are usually larger than the state areas, those level 2s and 3s. In 8th grade math, we in the level 3s and 4s was above district and state this last year, so that's a positive moving forward. Hopefully that will be continued this year in the data. And then language arts we've hit a lot on. It's a little bit below the district and especially low in those level 4 areas, even though the state and district's also low in those areas. So again, comparing to the district data, 3 years we are now overall outperforming the state averages, with 8th grade showing the greatest amount of growth. GMS is traditionally performing under the district middle school, the north end of the north end of the county, and then the state averages on level 4 are usually consistently higher when you look across both contents over the last 3 years. So that's something that we should look at with our leadership team and our action planning. And then this is the cohort data. You can see the group, the 2022 group, that we've only had a year. We've had some slight gains, but the 2021 group, the group that we had for 2 years in the data, made significant gains. So that's encouraging to know that the things that we've put in place, the annotating text, PALs, reciprocal teaching, things that we've done for literacy and the interactive notebooks and test corrections and specific things that we've been doing in math over 2 years really show some significant growth. And also our on-grade reading level. So that 2021 cohort really showed growth. And then science and social studies, the red from last year, we've gone down a little bit. But again, that was the first year that we only had 8th grade data for the milestones. And traditionally, our students have scored significantly better in the 7th grade in science and social studies. So this year will be more telling, so we can compare 2017 and 18 data when we only have that 8th grade data included. And then this is a line graph that shows that data in the chart, and you can see the green and the yellow arrows are that 2021 cohort, and then the 2022 cohort you can see in the blues, and there's just not as much significant growth. But all the lines are going upward. Even if they're slightly upward, like 80 to 82, they are a positive trend. There's no negative trending data. So that is a great positive. That when they come here and we move them up, we try to close those achievement gaps, and they are moving forward. Especially in the math, the yellow from 69 to 91 after 2 years here, and then the green from 50% reading on grade level when they left 6th grade to 82% when they left 8th grade. So again, the cohort data shows that the 2021 data when they were here, the cohort, when they were here for 2 years, they significantly improved, and that all have a positive trajectory. And this kind of explains why that we did receive 40 out of 40 possible CCRPI points in terms of growth, that we may be a little bit behind on achievement, but when looking at the growth data, most of our students are moving in a positive direction. The next few slides are going to focus on EL and SWD data. there's just not a lot of growth and positive movement here. In math, we did go from 67 from 3 years ago to 56, so that's double-digit gains when you look at that. But the state and the county also improved around those same lines, and we're a little bit better in math than we are in language arts at 56 and 64. And at ELA, we have moved from 80% to 64 SWD students. We've not seen that with EL students. In fact, they performed more poorly last year than they had the last 2 years. And we'll also see that in a few slides when we look at the access data. So we have the CCRPI flags for the last few years, for the last year, the district and GMS, and you can see language arts, all red flags, district and GMS, and English language learners and students with disability for district and Gladden are all red. So we're not meeting the performance targets that are set by the state in language arts or in those two subgroups, language arts and students with disabilities. So the action plan is really going to need to focus on that. And then again, what I was talking about earlier with the access scores, there's just not a lot of movement. You can see when you compare with the state and the county that we have a lot more red. So we really need to work on some speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills in all content areas to help these EL students. So that, again, the subgroup data summary, there's been little growth or no growth, especially when you look at the EL students. We have a rapidly inclining EL population. We've gone from 16 3 years ago to almost 40 now. So we've got to have some better ways to help those kids. The ELA has red flags across the board for district and the school. And we have seen that the access data really reflects the GMAS data for our EL students in particular. So the two most urgent needs that we're going to use for the action plan are going to really focus on language arts in those subgroups. We would like to see greater growth in the level 3 and 4s on the milestones. We still have 25% of our students not reading on grade level. And it's also, when you look and compare to the math department, we've had the smallest gains in growth. And just working on those literacy skills going into high school will help the college and career readiness, but also will help them in every content. If they can read on grade level, then they're more likely to do well on a test. And then those SWD and EL students, we need some creative scheduling and ideas for strategies and efforts to help those students, since we have all red flags in those areas. We're not meeting performance targets set by the state, and we're being outscored by the district and the state in those areas. So those will be the two focus areas on the next assignment in the action plan. Thank you.